All right. A social experiment. Let's go.
Okay,
What do you
yeah.
got for me?
Okay, okay, see. So, let's say that you have a group of people and they have this parchment of writing on it. And this writing kind of dictates everything that they're doing. And
Yes.
like some people may die because of what is written on this parchment, but they're doing it because some ancient people wrote these teachings and these rules on this piece of parchment. So, like, obviously, they believe that something good is gonna come out from following like the teachings of this old piece of writing.
Yeah.
Um, would you call this a cult?
Yes.
All right.
Honestly, yes.
America is a cult.
Yes, that is.
I
I could
could
have told you
tell
that.
I could tell immediately that you knew where I was going.
Uh, we're starting with this can of worms. We're ripping that band-aid. Which, before I do, I'm just like hilariously shocked, hilariously shocked that like you and your bum ass in fucking Denmark are having to deal with our American problems, and I apologize.
It's fine.
The fact, like, like, we talked about this when I was like coughing my head off. Like, there was a guy who we're not going to really mention by name, but like made like tried to make a post about how Europe was worse than America, despite the fact while we entirely flat out banned all abortions, there's some that let you have abortions to certain terms across Europe, and that's somehow worse. And I'm like, okay.
There are
But yeah,
two countries in all of Europe who bans abortions flat out.
yeah.
Two.
Two. Two small countries for Europe as a whole. We in America, you can kind of see us like 50 small countries, let's be real. Because that's kind of what this thing ended up becoming. Because believe it or not, it's still legal up here in Massachusetts, where I live. But if you're down south in Texas, you'll just you get to boink, forcibly boink without consent a 10-year-old, and they just gotta live with it.
Yeah, and if they uh, if they are dying during childbirth for this baby because the body is not ready for it, uh, what was it? They have to kind of
It
like wait for them to flatline or something before they can save them.
yeah. What was the term that was used? It's an opportunity. That was the term that was used. It's an opportunity. It
Okay.
is. Yeah, like watching this go down was nuts. I'm just. Although, like, I don't know if you saw this, but like, I know that like the fucking TikTok, where TikTok fucking not only they doxed all the Supreme Court members, but they also sent out their goddamn like credit card numbers
Oh yeah.
with like, I'm like, they got to these motherfuckers hard. Excuse me, I thought it was just casual abortion, not some idiot. No, you're not allowed. No, like medical abortions, things that are life threatening. If it's gonna, they would rather kill the mom and let the child come out without a parent than to have the abortion.
Yeah.
Nope, all of it. It is widespread, all of it. Like that's why the whole "she's 10" thing was trending. It's because a 10-year-old got raped, and they were like, "Welp, this is a beautiful opportunity to show the miracle of life." And I'm like, "Wow, yeah, that's America. That's this country."
I saw that someone had taken up like a rather unique form of protest against this by driving in the fast lane or something, which for that particular location was reserved for people who were driving with passengers. And because she was pregnant, she was like, "Oh, but it's qualified as a person, so I'm allowed to drive here."
You'd think that, but then she probably got arrested because, oh, You're a woman, you have no rights, because that's
Yeah.
really what it was. I
Um.
wanna point I wanna point out this issue that just came out with the whole for people who don't know, for the sake of the podcast,
Oh yeah.
the Supreme Court basically ruled that, abortion is illegal, widespread. It is well, okay, they didn't do it like that. They essentially what they did was, like, they handed it over to the states to choose if it's a right or not. And the thing with that is, instead of saying it's a right for everyone, then it's just a state can decide whether or not a woman's allowed to have an abortion.
Hmm.
So now it's a little thing where in Massachusetts or New York, it's safe to have it because we're not fucking insane. And then there's like people in like countries in like Texas where no, we're just gonna let a 10-year-old get boinked and force them to have a child that will kill them
Yeah.
for having it. But you can tell I'm a little salty because I do have my own personal issue with this. Because I I don't get into political debates often, and the
Hmm.
one time I did wholeheartedly and tried to hear the other side out, it was with a person from Texas, and they were totally against the idea of abortion. And I just told them I am. And the first off, their opening line was, "Oh, you don't believe in abortion because you believe in women's rights, do you?" And I'm like, "Wow."
Well, yeah.
But
Is that the other end of the spectrum?
oh, no, 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 it gets worse. Because after the whole debate was over, like, not even 3 months down, the guy turned out to be a pedophile.
Oh.
Like, he groomed he was, like, semi-popular, so he used whatever clout he had to groom, like, middle schoolers and high schoolers to ride on his dick and show them their, like, underage titties. So, um so I guess why the reason why you think every child deserves a chance at life is so they can see a chance at their you want to see a chance at their nookie, don't you, boy? Uh-huh. He had to be from Texas too. It's like you couldn't write a better stereotype, a better straw man. But I really want to name him by name, but I've learned, but like I've been talked to by Lassa before, that's not a good thing to do. So I won't name him by name, but I will say that I hate him with every fiber of my being and deserves no rights. But
No.
whatever, that's not the country we live in. uh I got a chip on my shoulder, man. You have no fucking idea. But
I can feel it. I'm poking it and I'm cutting myself on the chip on your shoulder.
oh yeah. But
Uh,
yeah, no, but yeah, this whole thing is just fucking whack. Like but just the sheer response to it was beautiful because like you just like the moment it came up, it's like okay, fuck you, and they just like doxed credit card information. We could have gotten their social security numbers if we wanted to. Everything was fucking out there, and I'm like, holy shit, how?
Hell have
How
no
does this
fury.
happen? Like during the fucking BLM protests in like 2020, there was like a very short portion where like America mobilized like military against the protesters, and you would have and like all those gun-toting motherfuckers who said, "Oh, we need to keep our guns to fight against the government." They didn't do jack fucking shit. Well, when you have military going up against American citizens, they didn't pull up a gun because they're black. And here we got some fucking teenagers doing actual change by like doxing these old motherfuckers. And I'm like, wow. I'm starting to get radicalized, I guess you can say, because I'm just getting really tired of looking at both sides and just watching
Yeah.
nothing happen. But yeah, a lot of it is fucked up, and like there's no nuance behind it anymore, or no nuance I'm willing to just give
No,
because
I
it's
get it.
stupid. There is no fucking good reason. Like, actually, okay, if you want to do casual abortion and shit, like I would honestly, I'm of the stance that if you don't want to be a parent, you're probably going to be a pretty shitty parent,
Yeah.
and forcing a child to live under a parent who doesn't want their fucking kid is miserable. Oh God, that's a thing that's actually topical to me. But
Did you make a
Still.
girl pregnant?
Oh no, not like that. No, my parents. No, it's my mom didn't want me, but that's a different story.
Ah. Oh. Oh no.
Uh, oh no, but like I'm saying, the if you're trying to force people to have a parent to be a parent, and they yet turn out to be shitty parents, uh, what the fuck are you doing? You're not solving anything. On top of that, a lot of I did bring this up in the Wild West. The thing I always found weird when you like deal with things like overpopulation, we barely have any jobs to go around to begin with. We don't have housing to do shit. Nobody wants to fucking work, despite how many more people we're getting, and you have more people needing welfare because they either can't get jobs or are unable to get housing. And then you get these same people who voted against abortion to be like, oh, what? Now you fucking freeloaders want government money? Just go work. The logic doesn't make any sense. It's all like suicidal and hilarious.
um, I think like the long and short of it is just that a man should not be making decisions about what a girl can do with their body. Like,
Honestly, yeah.
what the fuck do we
Bottom line,
know? Do you, Cloudy? Do you bleed from your crotch every month?
not regularly.
No, okay. What?
no,
No, but like,
no.
unless you do, you shut your whole mouth. That's how simple it is.
That's how simple it is. Yes. Honestly, no. Yeah, you're right. Like, you think something as simple as that, like assuming said man is not then forced to pay child support. Oh God, child support.
But I just wanted to bring this up because in case someone is listening to this, it has been almost 2 months since our last podcast. Well, a month and a half.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so a lot of stuff has happened. So I just kind of wanted to like use this episode to like catch up because yeah, a lot of stuff has happened, and so I don't want to dwell too much on any one subject for too long. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll try to fly by because like we do have a lot to catch up on, and the fact we had to start with this podcast with fucking history happening again, Jesus Christ.
Well, I guess that we can springboard from that happy subject to another happy subject about history being made, which is that in Denmark we have now had the worst shooting in Denmark history,
Mm-hmm.
in which two
I feel
people
like
got killed.
yeah.
So there was some kind of white trash psychopath in who had grabbed a hunting rifle
Mm-hmm.
and was wandering around a shopping mall in Copenhagen called Fields, where he was
Yeah.
shooting people left and right, and unfortunately, two people who were shot succumbed to their injuries and passed away.
Mm-hmm.
The man has been apprehended and he's been prosecuted, and he is in jail right now, as far as I've understood. He had also uploaded videos onto YouTube in which he was like doing weird fucking cringy shit, like putting a gun to his temple or in his mouth, or like really just like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. Do it, bitch. But then actually like didn't go through with it. And like one of the videos is also called something to the effect of medicine name doesn't work, and that particular brand of medicine is used to treat schizophrenia. So the person
Mm-hmm.
was very clearly mentally ill. But still,
Okay.
fuck him. But after this happened, and it's also gonna like lead into some political talks about America, because apparently that's the
Mm-hmm.
name of the game for the beginning of this podcast. But
Yeah.
after this happened, I'm so happy that we could get the support from such politicians in America, such as the people who were like, "This just goes to show that gun laws doesn't work." because oh my god, they just had a shooting in Denmark with some of the world's most strict gun laws. Um, I don't recall what the date was. I think it was the 3rd of July or something that's happened.
Yeah, that one, like
Uh,
I saw that tweet and I'm like, one, that's in poor taste, and two, if you look at it statistically, what is this, the first shooting in 20 years? When it's
uh,
not even been 2 weeks in America where we're still, like, mourning the deaths of, like, what, a dozen children?
yeah, this is the first shooting in 19 years.
Yeah,
And the last one had a single like death. Um,
yeah,
and I remember it being like around the 4th of July, because I remember on the 4th of July alone, I read the news that there had been 5 separate shootings across America where the death toll was around 50 or something like that. And not that it's like
yeah,
a fucking penis measurement contest or anything, but I think it speaks volumes that this is uh what, third shooting ever, and
mhm,
it's the most deadly one, and only 2 people died, whereas it has now become such a normal thing in America that not even all of those 5 individual shootings were reported on, um,
mhm.
because it's just such a mainstay. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but um, I think that this just goes to show that it does in fact work.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But
Like,
what the fuck do
a
I know?
American first thing you have to understand is American politicians are stupid. Very, very stupid. They have no brains.
No.
All their brains can be replaced with money because they were born to rich families. But I want to just tell you how fucked this is because whenever I first heard this story, I'm looking at the numbers and my first uh, when I hear the story break, my first reaction is, "Wow, those are bitch numbers." I think Randy Stair did more damage than that, and that was like my first reaction to hearing that, and I'm like, "Wow, I'm pretty fucked up that this is just normal now."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this fucking schizophrenia cycle is KDA ratio shit. Get good, noob. And I'm like,
Those are
wow.
rookie numbers.
Those are rookie. That is honestly the phrase that I thought of. Those are rookie numbers. There's only 2 people who died. Wow. But I'm like, it's such a fucking normal thing. Like, I do not want a child in this goddamn country knowing that they're just gonna get shot eventually. So what the fuck? Where's the logic in that?
I don't fucking know.
Fucking there are police officers like guarding schools who do not stop shooters because they don't want to get hurt, and it's like they're not there to protect the children, they're there to protect the entrance of the school, which is not the children,
Which is kind
it's
of
the
fucked up.
property. Yeah, but no, that's always been the case in this country. Women are don't have rights, they're property. That's why they don't want them to have abortions. A lot of the shit comes down to like they don't want you to take away the guns, that's our property.
I
When you
remember
stop, yeah,
I remember during that whole like uh, Roe and Wade thing with the abortion stuff. I'm just
yeah,
reminded of that because, like you mentioned, the whole school thing. I remember someone posted a clip, and I think it was from George Carlin, one of his very first shows, and it touches on this very specific thing, which is like people are just going like before a child is born, people are just going, "Oh, every life is sacred. Oh, bless the children. Don't touch the children." And then once you meet once you are like born, fuck you.
yeah. No, that's always been the
Yeah.
case. That's why we don't care when children are being shot. But that's well, what do I know? I'm just an American.
Yeah.
I'm not even American. Like whenever I have to make a census, whenever you're choosing your race, I don't get to be like they always have to put Hispanic Latino at the top, and then so are you Hispanic Latino or now are you black? Are you white? Are you Jewish? Are you whatever? And I'm like Asian, and I'm like okay, I don't even
Uh,
get to be a race.
d-
I don't even know what the fuck I am. I'm an
Like,
ethnicity. Yeah.
do like when you have to like introduce yourself to people from like across the globe or something, either over Discord or whatever, do you like introduce yourself like as an American, or do you think, or do you kind of find a little shame in that and instead go, "Oh, I'm Puerto Rican" or something, because like that sounds better.
Well, being Puerto Rican like automatically makes you American anyway. But I would rather if I ever meet somebody outside, I would rather use like my Hispanic heritage because I am proud of it. I like that part of me more. But it's also just a thing where I think it was Gabriel Iglesias who made a joke about it. Like you're not an American when you're in America, but when you're abroad, you can finally be looked at as an American
Mm,
because people see you as like where you're from and where you're raised. Whereas in America, they just see you for this color of your skin.
mm.
So
So
I would honestly say if I was like in Europe, I would say I'm an American because I would say, just save a lot of time and
mm.
they get it and they wouldn't give a shit whether I was like Hispanic or not.
I
They'd
I
be like, "Oh shit, it's an American! Look how funny he talks." You know, it's funny. I went to Britain,
Britain.
to visit my friend, and and like I was there, and I was very polite. Everyone thought I was fucking Canadian. It was hilarious.
Did you say a boot?
I didn't say a boot, not once, but just because I was so polite and like I just talked to people with respect. They said, "Oh wow, you are nothing like an American. I thought you were gonna be loud Texan man, like yeehaw." And I'm like, "Wow." So when I found out Europe or like sorry, not Europe, when the rest of the world sees us as Texas, I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough.
Fair
Um,
enough.
Speaking of England, another thing that has happened since the last podcast is that Boris Johnson was like, "No, you cannot kick me out of office because I have a job to do." And then the very same day, the dude quit.
I
Which,
heard about that.
which I think is very just like, oh, Boris Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
I I saw that and I heard that and I'm just like, you know what? Good on him. That's some way to fucking leave. Oh my
uh,
god.
but okay. So let's
Yeah.
steer a little away from all the political stuff because it got a little bit heavy. Um, I want to talk about some shit that has happened in my life, and then I'm gonna ask you, Claudia, about what has gone on in your life.
Okay, my life.
All right. So, I'm gonna start with the fact that I have upgraded my computer.
What was that like?
I'm gonna get to it. So, I decided that it was finally time, because of some circumstances that I'm gonna get into later, that if there was ever a time to do it, it was now. So I finally bit the bullet and I bought myself an RTX 3080. And and as of right now, it's in my computer and it's purring like a kitten. Um First of all, I gotta like take you through the buying process of this thing, because that was a whole thing. So I go
Yeah.
on this. Before I get my paycheck, I'm scouring the internet to see where can I find one of these for cheap, and I actually managed to find a place that that sells a 3070, but they're also selling a 3080 for just $50 more.
Oh.
So I'm like, well, that sounds like a fucking bargain. Then, and I'm like, like I'm sending links to Alice and Zach. And just like, hey, look at this, oh my god. And they're like, oh wow, yeah, okay, that's a good fucking deal. Then I go to bed, and then I wake up the next day, and I'm like, okay, let me just check it again, just to make sure that I wasn't, like dazed off or anything. And sure enough, I find the item, but it is now like $400 more expensive.
Oh
Uh,
god.
I don't know why. So shit. But then I realized that okay, maybe something has happened that has made the prices go up again. And I have worked in retail for long enough to know that just because one company got the memo doesn't mean that everyone got the memo. So I actually managed to find a place that are still selling it for the dirt cheap. And so I put in my order once I finally got my paycheck, and then I wait. Then and I buy it Friday. On no wait, I buy it Thursday. Friday I get an email saying, "Oh yeah, no, we don't have it in stock anymore." And I'm like, "But it said on your site that you had it in stock." And I'm like, we don't have it in stock anymore. Okay, do you know when you will get it back in stock? No, it can be anywhere from tomorrow, next week to never. Okay.
Yeah, sounds like buying a graphics card, right?
Okay, then what do I do? And they're like, it would probably be the most wise for you to cancel your order and then see if you can buy it somewhere else. I'm like, fine. And so I cancel my order. But then I realized because of the type of credit card that I use that they're going to reserve my money for 30 days.
Oh.
And I can't contact the bank about it because this is just a safety precaution there is with this type of credit card, which they didn't tell me about before this. So all of a sudden, I now have a RTX 3080 price amount of money, just because I don't want to like convert it to dollars or anything. But it's a lot of money that I can't use for 30 days. And I'm sat here going, well, I obviously don't have that exact, that same amount of money again to throw it at a different store. So I was bitching to some friends and my dad was like, hey, let me just like borrow you the money. And then once the money comes in, you just like pay me. So, okay, fine. And then I go to a different place and I place my order and they're like, it will be here on Tuesday. Fucking rad. Now we're going. I have gotten this bad boy. But then I start checking online and I confer a lot with you because I know that you know your shit. And you do. You help me a lot. And for those of you who don't know, Cloudy is one of the coolest people in the world and I'm so happy that he wanted to help me. And I'm like, because like I was worried, like, does it fit in my rig? Does it like fit with my my motherboard? All of these things that you don't really think about. You just want the thing that makes your computer go wee. So
as long as it goes through like parts picker and you don't get like big glaring errors, it should work okay 90% of the time. That's what I'd said.
Yeah.
But
but you fail to account for the fact that I'm a fucking idiot. Because I had not looked up how strong my power supply was. And everywhere that I looked, it said you need a power supply of at least 750 watts. 750 watts is like the go-to for this type of graphics card. I'm like, all right. So come Monday, I go out into like the big shopping mall that we have in the pouring rain. And I check around everywhere, and first of all, there's a store that closes 10 minutes early. Which I had fucking dashed my ass off to get to, and they closed 10 minutes early, and I can't even get in to like ask them anything. Alright, fuck them. And then go to a different store, and I find sure enough a 750 watt power supply. But then he's like, okay, how big is your rig? How much space do you have? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Then he goes, you might want to check that before you buy anything. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So this entire trip, and it's a pretty long trip. It's like half an hour of just straight up like riding your bike one way to the other. So and uphill. So I'm fucking tired, I'm wet, and I come home, I open my rig, and I find out that I already have a 750 watt power supply in my fucking computer. So that entire trip didn't fucking matter.
Joy.
Joy. Alright. Now is the day of reckoning. It is Tuesday, my guy. I finally got my graphics card. It's fucking massive. It is dumb, ridiculously huge. I had never seen a graphics card that fucking big.
Remember when I showed you my graphics card and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm reminded fondly of the time where you showed me your old graphics card next to your new graphics card, and I was like, you versus the guys he tells you not to worry about.
It was big and black too. That's the best part.
Yeah, mine has 3 fans. All right.
Mine too.
So, I bust my thing open. At that day, I'm counting the fucking minutes to get home from work. And so I crack the thing open, and I mount my phone on my tripod. I go on Discord in hopes that you or Zach are online to guide my hips. But because none of you are there, because you got this thing called the life.
I was dying actually, so you can call it a death. Actually,
okay, you Zach has a life and you have a death.
Yeah.
I grew impatient and I was like, okay, I may be stupid, I may be retarded, but I'm not this stupid. So I can probably do this.
Yeah.
And
like I said, adult Legos.
Yeah, adult Legos. And I remember having conferred with you earlier, like, how much pressure can I actually use on these things?
Literally, as long as you don't use like a real hammer, you can just like.
Yeah, you can fucking drop that bitch in.
Honestly, yeah, it's one of those things where creators are like, okay, how do we make it so like a monkey with no experience can put a computer together? Because that's going to be 90% of our customer base.
Yeah. So I managed to plug the whole thing in. I get the old GPU out and I put the new one in. There's room to spare. Everything is looking great. It even does that little neat click sound once it's put in properly, and it makes me go, ooh. But now here's the problem.
Yeah.
On my graphics card, there are 3 power supplies.
Yeah, that was the thing that fucked me up.
And I have 2 cables. So before this, because I had to do that entire fucking walk to look for a power supply, I had bitched to Simon, who originally built the thing, asking him, what do I do, like, in case I don't have enough power supplies? And he's like, you just fucking call me. Alright, yeah. So I called Simon, and it's like, hey, help! And the mad lad drives from where he lives, which is like an hour's drive away, all the way over here just to put in some cables. And he puts them in, and everything is ready to go. We plug the bad boy into the power supply, press the on button, and nothing. Nothing happens. The room is filled with the dreaded no noise. No buzzing, no bizzing, no zzz, nothing. Only silence and darkness.
Terrifying.
It is fucking terrifying. And so, like, he goes, it's supposed to work. Which fills me with dread. Because this is a fucking, like, he's a computer whiz. I'm a fucking idiot. So if he goes, it's not supposed to do that, then I start sweating. So, I decide that I can't be in here because this is nerve-wracking for me because I spend a lot of money on this fucking thing. So I go, hey, why don't I get us some dinner? So I walk out and I go and get us some dinner while he works on it. And on the way back, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna open the door. I'm gonna go into the living room, and knowing Simon, he's gonna be sat in my office chair. He's gonna smile from ear to ear and go, I fixed it. And he's probably gonna have some dumb shit on the monitor. And I open the door. I have like some nice fucking like chicken peanut sauce noodle stuff from the local. Oh, shit's delicious. I'm fucking ready. Let's celebrate this bad boy. And I open the door, I walk in, and he's still sat on the floor with my computer. And I am filled with even more dread.
Oh no!
And I go, is it working? And he's like, no. And then he goes, okay, let me try this. And then he plugs my old graphics card into my computer.
Oh no.
And he presses the on button, and there's still nothing. Now I'm filled with even more dread.
Okay, yeah, no, that is pretty fucked.
Because is my computer now just bricked? And so we sit down and eat dinner, and we talk a little bit about like what could it be, and then once we finish dinner, Simon has an idea, and so he goes down and he, pulls a cable here, tucks a cable there, and he pushes the on button, and now it works. So we found out that the cables that Simon has that he had brought along with him does not compute with my power supply, and they let out a wrong amount of power from the power supply to the rest of the computer, and so the computer basically just goes, "Lol, no, this is bad. I'm not gonna do this. I can't let you do that, Hal."
Oh God.
Yeah. So that's why. So I buy another power supply because I already know that, like, I need a new one of those either way. So I get another power supply. I get it with overnight shipping, and then I come home. And then I realize I now have to do open computer surgery because I have to take the former power supply and disconnect it from everything that it's attached to, which is a lot, by the way, in case you never opened a computer. Disconnect that, because what we just learned is don't use other cables. Use the ones that come with the power supply. So I have...
Wait, you use different cables? That was... Wait, hold on, sorry. I just caught that. You were using different cables? Where'd you get them?
Simon builds computers on the daily. He just had a fucking backpack full of them.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, and apparently the exact ones that he had used for mine, he had gone, nah, I probably don't need those. So, but anyway, now I have to fucking take all of these other cables out and put new ones in. The guy who was nervous as fuck about just putting in a GPU now has to fiddle around with the powers. So I think I texted you going, I am sweating because I at one point I just had to sit down and go, okay, we're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah,
you're doing great. So I plug it all in. There's enough cables this time for the graphics card as well. Put the power cable in, and I press the on button, and it starts buzzing, and there's light. But my computer is slow as fuck. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, what is this? Why? Why now? Why are you cursing me like this, Scott? But it turns out that it's just because it was installing drivers. So now everything is working great, even though my mouse sometimes seems to disconnect for no apparent reason. But other than that, everything is working great. I have fired up games that I could barely run before, and I can now run them at ultra settings, ray tracing on, no problem whatsoever, 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second if I so fancy. Everything is for coming up Millhouse. I have not tried rendering, I have not tried editing, but I will try that with this episode of the podcast.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
That's a fucking arc and a half right there, honestly.
Yeah, I'm never. So the day after, let's say, I think we are at Thursday or Wednesday now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're at Wednesday now. The day after, so Thursday, I can't do anything. It feels like I have like been doing like a stock take where you're just like you're on the entire day. It feels like I've run a marathon. All of my muscles are hurting. I'm fatigued. I'm tired. I have no energy to do anything whatsoever because this has just fucking drained me so much. So yeah,
Oh,
one hell of an arc.
I I wanna say congratulations. You've essentially been baptized by IT Jesus. You've built your first computer, and it's just as nightmarish as everyone else's first computer.
Thank you.
Like, I'm glad it was something as small as like. I mean, don't get me wrong. That shit is still fucking heart palpitating. That you're fucking that like, but like it was just something as simple a fix as like, oh, I was just using the wrong cables this whole time. The power supply is not strong enough, or there's either too much power now. I just got to make sure everything's just right, and that's it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
My first computer, just so I can reminisce. Before I actually went to college for it, I was a dumb, stupid fucker bean, and I had a myriad of issues, and it took me like 3 different tries and buying this little thing I actually showed you before, which was like a BIOS speaker or a motherboard speaker. And it turned out that like because it would just turn off, it would like just fucking die in the randomly, even when I got it to work. Turns out I didn't have any thermal paste on my processor, so it was just not enough thermal paste, so it would just overheat and die constantly.
Ooh.
So I had to buy a new processor on top of that. So that was fun. But still, at least it was all happy, good, lucky, and now you have like a beautiful new goddamn rig to work with.
Yeah. I mentioned before that I was gonna get into later why it was that I finally decided that I wanted to buy a new graphics card. And the reason for that is because I finally have the money for it. And soon I won't have the money for it because since the last podcast, we have been let go from my job.
I remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't great. So I can't get into specifics about it, but the long and short of it was that our department, so in case you don't remember, a quick recap. I got hired back to a company that I used to work for. The company had been run very poorly, and so we were in a situation where it was either we're gonna like shut the company down or not. And so we ended up getting bought by a different company. And that company thought that we were going to be making a lot more money than we originally were, because like when you buy a company, you also buy all of their clients and stuff. But because of all the stuff that had been going on, a lot of these clients were like, nah, we don't. No, we're gonna look somewhere else, which is understandable. There was also a bunch of stuff like behind the scenes that I legally can't get into, but stuff wasn't great. Yeah. So they decided that they were just losing money by having us hired. So they eventually just went, nah, you know what? No, we're gonna have to let everyone in this office go. Which like it sucks. I have always, I know you especially know this, that I've always referred to the finish line, which was when like when I quit my job at an nondescript video game retailer. My finish line was I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get an education and I'm gonna get a job within that within that field that I can enjoy showing up to. And so when I initially got the first job, I wasn't. I was only technically there for my trial period, and then I got let go. And then I was like, oh, okay, so I still haven't passed that finish line. And I was really bummed by that because like this was a multi-year long journey on trying on having a single goal, and then once you thought that you had reached it, you were suddenly like thrown back over the finish line. So so that really hurt. But this time, I'm not as like hurt as I was before, because I realized that like no matter what happened, I did cross the finish line. I was working here for like 5 or 6 months, and like I did get to realize that dream of getting that the big reward at the end, which was a job. And yes, I got let go, but that's the case for a lot of people. That once you enter a job, sometimes you just get let go or fired or something like that, and that shouldn't invalidate the stuff that you have accomplished. And I'm sat here going, you know what? I still had like 5 or 6 great months. This has been fun. I got to hang out with some amazing people, doing some amazing tasks. I learned a lot about myself personally and professionally. And like the last time I was like without a job, I was headhunted by 3 different companies, and I have only gotten better since then. So like I'm not worried about finding a different job, but the way that I explained it to Alice was that every if a game has like if a fighting game has a touch of death, like if that is a possibility, then it's the biggest goal for every fighting game player to hit that during a fight at some point. Because it's this big pop off, this big show, this big thing that you can only do by taking everything that you have learned and put it into this one thing, this big explosion of see what I have reached, see what I have become. And me getting this job was my touch of death. Was me like reaching this moment where look at everything I have become. And now that I have finally done my touch of death, which I've also managed to do in a fighting game, there's a video of that. Once you have accomplished that, you start being able to go, all right, now I can calm down a little bit. Now I don't have to aim for this big explosive thing. Now I just have to work on my fundamentals. Now I just have to work on finding a job that I want to show up for, that I'm happy to do the tasks for. It doesn't have to be the fucking perfect 10 out of 10 knock it out of the park thing. I just have to be content. I don't even have to be like, obviously I would like to be challenged, but I don't really even need that as much anymore because I can do that on my own time. So yeah, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. But speaking of jobs, you have had some job stuff on your own.
I love that. That's the point where you segue it, because here I was going to compliment you on your entirely mature self-actualization that you went through. That's the kind of shit you only get in your like 60s in America, because we're kind of constantly fed the lie that, oh, you need to aim for job security. You need to go for a job and work for 50 years and have that, because we'll totally give that to you. Like, that's a viable option. And no, that's not anymore. Not for us. But first off, I am genuinely proud and like happy that you've like matured. You've like gone through this goddamn hell, and now you're out the other side wiser and stronger, better than you ever were before. Me, on the other hand, I'm kind of just going through the motions. Like, I'm not really like salty or anything at this point in time, because I mentioned this a while back when I was in that do or die situation to either work on this endless overtime, but I pay off my student loans, or I pass out from super COVID or whatever the fuck that was. But like when I was doing that, and I finally paid off my debt, and it kind of took 2 years to stop riding the high, but now that I've finally got that over, and now I'm not like so constantly stressed and worried about where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna make money, how am I gonna pay this off. It's kind of just I'm in that same boat right now, where right now I'm just trying to find a new job. All of last month, I actually got lucky, believe it or not, because when I called it off, I originally wasn't going to have that month of June, but like for a last minute, I got like a last minute extension to work at that one place for June, so that was nice.
Oh,
but I still was looking for jobs at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So, and now like because I have my roommate beside me, now when I'm looking for jobs, I'm just sliding in their application on a separate window. So we're both applying to the same shit on the off chance one of us gets a job. So that's nice. That's cool. And I'm sitting here and I'm like thinking about like how I went to college to be like an IT because that's something my parents always wanted me to do. And I realize like something about myself, I will always put things I want to do in the back burner because I've just kind of like went through my entire life like that. Like I'm kind of like I always thought like being selfish or being just having fun is a bad thing if it's at the expense of somebody else. But then it just got to a point where now that like I've paid off my student debt, I've done everything I need to, and no matter what I've done, I'm still kind of at the bottom. Now I can just go wherever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Like I don't have this weight over my head anymore. I don't have this like realization like if I don't get this I'm worthless. Cause now I'm just like, you know what? I paid it off. I went through a job, they took advantage of me for a bit. I took advantage of them, give and take. I'm probably just gonna do that for the next couple jobs I get, and I'm just gonna keep jumping between jobs. So I don't know. As this is going on, I realized maybe I should give that creative shit a try again. Because I keep trying to join things or start things, but I always stop them because I'm like, oh, you know, I could do that, but getting a job is more important. Getting putting in your hours is more important. Yeah. And I realized, no, it's not. It really fucking isn't. Like, getting to that finishing line, having that finishing line, having that thing there where you just feel fulfilled by doing an action, that's actually what's most important. Yeah. It's funny, I actually had this same conversation with Emily like a long ass time ago. And she she was really stressed out because she had like a billion things to do. When doesn't she have a billion things to do at the same time? But that's neither here nor there. She was doing all these things, and she couldn't decide what she wanted to do first. And my gut reaction was to tell her, well, do the thing that's due sooner. Because the sooner you get that done, the sooner you get it off your plate, the sooner you do all this. And she just said something that was just so profound. It was just, yeah, but I want to do work that's fulfilling. So I'm not going to do it if it's not fulfilling. And I'm like, but
Galaxy brain.
Oh, yeah. It's something so simple, but I'm like, you know what? That bitch was right. Holy shit. Like, and now that I'm at this point where I'm like, you know, I have no fucking like required, I don't have the sword of Damocles all over my neck anymore. I don't got like this weight. I'm not carrying this weight. Now that I did everything I was supposed to do, I got nothing fulfilling to do. And now I'm like, shit. So now I'm just trying to find things that I want to do now, which is fun. At the moment, one of those things, actually, maybe Like I always tell you, I'm doing my D&D stuff where it has been wonder for like creative writing and stuff, because that's like when you learn to improvise and do shit and write on the fly and just have fun and make things make sense. That's just a great old joy. But another thing that I can probably like segue into, one of those things that could be fulfilling is I finally relented. And could somebody do the copy pasta, because I don't know it. But I installed Final Fantasy. Yo, do it.
I want to do it because it's a memorable occasion. Did you know that the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV has a free trial and includes the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heavensward expansion up to level 60 with no restrictions on playtime? Sign up and enjoy yours here today at secure.squareenix.com/account/app/svc/ffx XIV register !ing EN-GB. You did it!
So it was like I did it. So as a show of goodwill from my roomie for letting them live here and them helping to pay for like the bills and the water, they finally, what race? I'm gonna get to it. So they buy me the launcher and they get me some extra things, and now I am going through my free trial of Final Fantasy XIV. I am only at level 15. I'm just about to start the skill quest to get meditation, because I am a monk. I'm playing as a male mountain Rodigan, and my friend who's leading me around is a Lalafell. And we're just having a good time going through as they're showing me the ropes. Because whenever I play, they're in the other room, and they're just walking me through, getting me used to the game. You, not the Lala.
And I think that, just to pat myself on the back, I put it pretty good. That now you guys are basically this game's version of Wedge and Biggs.
Yes. I will admit, it's very fun. I am in those beginning cutscenes where everything is your standard MMO fare. Like, oh, there's a goddamn spoiled rich kid and this really cool suave human guy. I was in like the Skyrim carriage with these two elves who don't say anything, but I'm pretty sure they're important. There was this Lalafell who was a part of like the Sand Bandit guys, and he was trying to be a good boy, but nobody believes him, but he ends up becoming a captain because they beat the shit out of his superior. And I'm just going through the story quests, doing your menial shit, so I haven't seen any of the mind-blowing shit yet. But it's fun. I'm getting used to it. The monk is a very fun class to play, I will admit. Like, holy shit. It is very simple right now. I've only got like my little basic rotation of like boot shine, true strike, and snap punch, and just keep repeating that ad infinitum. I did watch a video of like the skills, and I know how fucking complicated this shit gets.
I think it is important to note that you are not a monk yet.
I am a pugilist.
You are a pugilist, yeah.
Like, that always confuses me because I don't think there's any other subclasses under pugilist. Like, you just go from pugilist straight to monk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I become like a monk at level 50.
With how Lancer goes into Dragoon.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, that classification just, like, bothers me, because I'm like, I'm expecting, oh, is there, like, a different thing from monk? No, it's just monk.
Yeah.
I want there to be, like, I don't know, pirate or some shit, like, some other, or boxer, or, like, capoeira, or some shit like that. But no, it's just a pugilist monk. Which, you know what? Fine, I will get there at level 50.
I
I'm just saying, it's just I am trying to get used to everything. I'm playing with controller at the moment because my
Oh,
roomie plays with controller.
how
But I'm
is that?
also like, it's honestly, because I tried this at the same. I'm playing this on my computer, so I do switch from the two from time to time.
Oh yeah.
But it's just really hard to just like get that muscle memory to target people
Ah, okay.
because I have to click A to I have to face the direction of the enemy I'm trying to hit. I have to press A to target that one specifically, and then I have to press the right trigger to start accessing my skills, and then you press the corresponding button. It's a lot more complicated than like I'm making it. Oh, sorry, it's a lot easier than what I'm making it sound, but it's still like just something I gotta get used to.
Oh yeah.
But like, no, she like showed me because her main character is a Rodigan Dragoon, and like she showed me how to set up macros and shit, and it's actually really intuitive. It's just me trying to like get used to the like damn thing that's like a learning curve.
Yeah.
There's only one that doesn't do that. The whole Arcanist Scholar Summoner. Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
Arcanist goes into to several. Scholar and Summoner are kind of unique because if you level up Summoner, you also level up Scholar. So if you want to level up a healer but don't want to like level up a healer because it's not fun to do that on your own, then you can just play a Summoner and you automatically level up a Scholar. That's what I did, but the problem with that is that now I don't know any fucking thing about my Scholar. So when I'm in a dungeon and I have to heal, I'm like, I wonder what this button does. Which has gotten Alice and Sebastian killed more than once.
Yeah, I find it's important to, when you're playing a support, you know what your supports do.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's fine because they explained to me the class change system and how like after you get to a certain point you can just like revert back to level 1, start from like a conjurer and then go to like white mage, because that was the thing I mentioned of doing. I wanted to be like a monk sometimes and then like a white mage other times, because I also like being I like being a support. I like having my friends' lives in my hands. I'm a D.
Plus white
I'm
mage
a
is a
DK
fucking
every time. Yeah.
Oh.
Wait. I'm a DK is Dark Knight, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to learn.
Huh?
But yes,
Okay.
I just never die.
It's so fucking fun. After I started doing the whole Berserk video thing, I found out that, hey, guess what? Dark Knight is just 1-to-1 guts. I was like, it can't be. Surely. And then I played it, and yes.
If you really think about it, he really is. They're really just guts, because it's just, hey, like guts just you his superpower is being a normal guy who's too angry to fucking die.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. That is his power. He's an unstoppable force.
Yeah, and there's several story beats in the Dark Knight questline that are various different story beats from Berserk, like fight religion and deal with anger inside of you and stuff like that. It's cute.
Cute indeed.
Yeah. But yeah, welcome to the magical world of Final Fantasy XIV. I do hope that you stick with it, because I'm sure that your roommate has also told you this, because it's kind of a meme at this point. But it's A Realm Reborn, which is the beginning, that is the weakest part. Well, there's some people who actually really love it, but it is typically considered to be the weakest part of Final Fantasy XIV. I do think that you, of all people, are actually going to enjoy it somewhat, because it hits the same note that that One Piece does, I'm kind of
Oh yeah.
tailoring this pitch specifically to you, in that um, all of A Realm Reborn, 90% of A Realm Reborn is in the same boat as One Piece, where it's just set up. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
we're now here and we're introducing these aspects of the world. Hey, primals are this and they can do that. Over here, hey, this is the political climate here. And there's conclusions to each of these little story beats, but then once you hit the last like 10%, it
Yeah.
does that thing that I have been told that One Piece does, where, hey, remember all of those things that you just learned? Yeah, now all of those things are coming together to a much greater whole, and what you thought you knew isn't fucking shit, my guy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I see like that I knew I was gonna be a part of this. I'm not like bored by like the story or anything. Like I know
Good.
that I'm in for some shit. I've caught up to One Piece. I've seen your reaction when you told me, "Hey, this Kaido motherfucker, is he the guy we're doing right now?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like that's 20 fucking years. And I'm like, "Yeah." What of it?
Yeah.
That's
Welcome to One
basic.
Piece.
That's basically what I. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting out of like Final Fantasy 14. It's like the main story doesn't really kick off until 2/3 through the second expansion, which I can believe, and I don't honestly see that as an issue. I don't mind setup. I think setup is good as long as it gets paid off, and from what I've been told, shit gets paid off.
It gets paid with interest. I remember when we were at the again, I'm sure that your roommate has either already told you this or is going to tell you this. But what makes Final Fantasy 14 a little interesting is that once you beat one expansion, or the base game for that matter, you're not done. And because let's say that you get to Heaven's Ward. So you beat the main campaign, the credits roll, and for the base game, and now you're at the once the credits roll, you're now getting a story where you wrap up the remaining of the base game to an even bigger climax, and after that, it then goes into the beginning of Heaven's Ward. And then you actually get to Heaven's Ward. And then you beat Heaven's Ward, and then it's the same thing again. Then you beat the big baddie of Heaven's Ward, and then you're ending Heaven's Ward with an even bigger big baddie, and then you go into Stormblood. So just because like you reach the end of what was the base game, they typically patch in stories that are continuing the story, but making it more like like more of a finale, if that makes any sense.
No, I understand. It's like it's kind of like bringing back the One Piece example. Like it's basically just arcs. Like
Yeah.
if you like want to think about it, the Realm Reborn is just the East Blue. The fucking Heaven's Word is like the first half of the Grand Line. Then Stormblood is the second half of the Grand Line, and then we go. And then like the one after is like the time skip, and then you can make those like comparisons.
Yeah.
Giant chunks of sagas that are really fucking cool.
I think that that A Realm Reborn is essentially what is it fucking called? The one where they're at where the boat is done, and they're in this harbor city where they're trying to get it fixed, and Usopp and Luffy are coming to blows.
Oh yeah.
What is that place called?
Water 7.
Water 7. All right. So Realm Reborn is Water 7, and Realm Reborn post like the after the credits is
Enos Lobby.
Enos Lobby.
Thank you. No, that makes perfect sense. I can believe that.
Uh, yeah. It again. I think you, in particular, you're not gonna have a problem with it. I was a little like when I was initially playing it. I didn't follow the plot until like level 40 or something. And
Mm-hmm.
then because I was like, oh, it's an MMO. Because I'd been primed from World of Warcraft, so I was like, it's an MMO. What the fuck does the story matter? And I basically had to refer to Alice and Sebastian, like, okay, what is actually going on now? But then, like, there was this moment, and I'm not gonna get into what it was, but where like things started coming together. I'm like, wait, hold on, I'm actually kind of interested in this. And I was like reading up on the wiki, like what had happened up till now. So I'm in the camp where I was actually ready to just like throw the game away because I wasn't that interested in it. But
Mm-hmm.
you and I have had several podcast episodes where we've talked about this whole thing of like perceiving a media the wrong way. And what I was doing was that I was perceiving this as like just another dumb MMO where the story didn't matter. And I'm also the kind of person that like I do appreciate long setups, but I kind of need like it needs to be done in a super hyper specific way where I also get like a lot of payoffs as we go, and then just get even bigger payoffs later. And I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know that that was where we were, and I didn't feel like we got that many payoffs of Final Fantasy 14, at least in Realm Reborn. But then
Mm-hmm.
once we reached the end of Realm Reborn, I was like, okay, I am invested now. So
Yeah.
I can attest to the whole thing that that people are probably gonna like jump out during a Realm Reborn, but it is if you stick with it and you get to Heaven's Ward, where again the One Piece analogy, where you said to me, if you don't like Idris Abbey, then you're not gonna like One Piece. This is prime One Piece.
Yes, basically.
If you don't like Heaven's Ward, then you're not gonna like Final Fantasy 14.
Okay, that is the thing I needed to hear. So I mean, if Heaven's Ward doesn't meet my, I don't even think it has to meet my expectations. It's just I got a vibe with it, and I'm pretty sure I am, considering like I got a feeling in my gut I'm gonna enjoy my time with it. I just got to get to Heaven's Ward.
Hmm. And you can really feel that Heaven's Ward was where they really came into their own because you're probably also going to realize this. Several voice actors just straight up fucking change. The dude who voices Alphino, one of those elf children you were mentioning before, is the same dude who voices Viral in Gurren Lagann for you right now. He changes
Holy
into
shit!
like a wimpy British sounding guy.
Wow. Okay. Does it fit?
Yeah, it fits much better
Oh my
than
god.
Viral.
Oh my god. Call us in to join you for dungeons and trials and stuff. Okay, don't
Yeah.
worry. What once I got like my feet sufficiently wet, and once like I feel comfortable enough that I've got my own on my monk boy. Like I'm gonna hit you guys up for some Team Die Riser shenanigans.
Oh,
I just need to catch up at my own pace first, is what I ask.
of course, of course. But I think you know us well enough to know that we are by no stretch of the imagination any sort of elites. We will happily take all the time that you need to get into the swing of things, and we will also give you all the roles in case you need it. Which reminds me that I have a prayer for you, and I talked with Alice about this. For Stormblood, I want,
Stormblood.
yeah, so that is after Heaven's Ward.
Okay.
I need you to have a tank.
Uh,
It can be a
okay.
warrior, it can be a dark knight, it can be a paladin. The choice is 100, or a gunbreaker in case you want like a gunblade. The choice is entirely up to you, but there is one thing that happens in Stormblood where I need you to be a tank.
Okie dokie. Oh, yeah, we need to be there for you for that. You
Yeah.
can't do this alone. We have to be there with you while you're doing it. Oh, of course. No. Actually, Go ahead. Go ahead.
I need, yeah, okay, we need to be there because I need to record it for my
Oh
own
no.
pleasure.
Perfect. No, that's totally fine and doable. I was actually going to mention this, like, just rewind the conversation back to like the jobs and things that we were finding fulfilling. Um, one of the things I've done to like kind of ensure myself to be like, okay, I'm gonna dedicate myself to doing something, creative and original. Uh, Bit of a long story, but I have a friend who's been trying to get her boyfriend from Denmark to move to Canada, and they've been running like this GoFundMe for like I want to say like 3 years now, and they're like only $200 from the goal. And wouldn't you know it, I saw that, and I'm like, "Yo, what do you sell for $200?" And they told me, "Oh, well, the thing I have for that, if you're not going to buy a bunch of things piecemeal, is like I do have this streamer package where I'll make you all these things to start your streaming career, to like have like an overlay and like notifications and emotes." And I'm like, "I bet." So by the time I get the Stormblood, that streamer package is probably going to be mostly on its way. So I'm definitely going to start streaming that when I get there. Good. So you will have it recorded.
Well, no, we also have to be there.
You will be there. Don't worry. Well, we'll stream it. We'll like host each other's streams. I don't know how Twitch works, but I'll figure it out.
But I will glad you hold your hand. Because I don't have a job anymore. What the fuck else am I gonna do?
I mean, same. I'm in the same fucking boat.
But yeah, I want you to, once we're done with this podcast, I want you to tell your roommate, hey, the guy I host the podcast with told me to be a tank for a thing in Stormblood, and just see her reaction. Make sure that she doesn't tell you, they don't tell you what it is, but just gauge their reaction.
Oh, I could do that right now. Give me a second.
Okay.
It is my friend who is hosting the podcast says he wants me to be a tank for something in Stormblood. Oh. Yeah.
A very specific thing in Stormblood.
He says a very specific thing in Stormblood.
That only a tank can do.
That only a tank can do.
Disappointed.
I did just wake them up.
Okay, tell them that I will revel in the moment.
Okay. He's saying he will revel in the moment.
Oh.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I am being a coy bastard right now, but when I told Alice that you had started like Final Fantasy 14, I immediately went, "Oh, we need Cloudy to do this thing," and and Alice was like, "Well, fucking duh."
The reaction we got where it's like, oh, I'm like, oh my god, I'm in for some shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't. All right. Once I finish like my A Realm Reborn, I'm gonna get my monk to the boy I want him to be at. I'm gonna start working on I'm gonna look through the tanks and see what's called out to me, and then I'll let you know.
I want you to remember that there are things that makes this easier for you. If you reach, I don't recall the levels at the top of my head, but Dark Knight and Gunbreaker are both tanks.
Mm-hmm.
You once you reach a certain level, you'll be able to pick those classes up without having to have a marauder or anything. You can just like pick them up, and they will start at I think level 30.
Mm-hmm.
So you will already have like 30 levels like done.
Ooh, perfect.
So like that will be like that's why I initially picked Gunbreaker, just because I'm not gonna fucking level up a fucking tank. Are you fucking crazy? Um, so yeah, just thought you know. But as you can probably tell, I'm big excited for this because I can honestly, and it's so fucking wild because like unfortunately kind of earned myself like the rep of being the guy who hated Final Fantasy. Um, I can without a doubt now say the Final Fantasy 14 is one of my all-time favorite games. I have so many fucking memories of that. When we reached like the end of Endwalker, I had a fuck like I had to like I needed to fucking like just have a like a real talk with Alice and Sebastian, just like thank them for like having the experience with me, because there's so much in that game that has just like changed my entire outlook on writing and fiction as a whole. It's to the point where, and I think I tweeted about this, Final Fantasy 14 made it so that I like other Final Fantasy games now.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Although you hear like Final Fantasy 14 like just references like everything at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And,
that's fine.
and also, like Alice says, worth keeping in mind, Final Fantasy 14 is a much more casual MMO than other ones too. It's pretty easy and not all too time consuming to get a new class up to current gear level and all. There's not much of an endless gear creep. Yeah. In fact, they once interviewed Yoshi P, the director of the game, and he was like, "Yeah, we don't want to make it so that you have to fucking like slave away all of your waking hours just to get like the best loot or levels or anything, because we want people to jump in, have fun with the game, and then like have fun with and then like log off the game and spend time with the families and friends."
You can tell that like Yoshi P's played MMOs in the past, and he
Yeah,
knows.
yeah, exactly.
He has been there.
And it does have a hardcore rating scene, but it's kind of behind closed doors, and you won't stumble on it without looking for it. It has very little reward for doing so, really. If you're not a sweaty tryhard, you won't be missing out on like anything.
Good to know.
Yeah, like you can pick up a raid and go for the extreme version, and the bosses will maybe sometimes have different faces, different unique animations, and sometimes the music is gonna be kicked up a notch. Which, if you like the music as much as I do, you're like, okay, maybe I should check out the extreme just so I can hear it. But then you find it on Spotify, and it's like, who cares? But yeah, like it is not sweaty at all. You have probably already noticed just how much crazy experience you get just from doing the fucking story. It's not like that whole thing that World of Warcraft has, where it's like go to literally every quest on the map and do them, and beg to fucking God that you are high enough level so you can go to the next zone and do the same shit all over again.
Okay, so there was like a thing I've always been curious about for Final Fantasy 14, because I feel like the game is kind of designed for this thing. Like, has there been like any reward or anything for like one character to have like maxed out in every single job? Is there like a special story thing for that or no?
Yes, to a point. In Shadowbringers, I'm gonna keep it a little vague because it's actually pretty cool. But in Shadowbringers, you will get different trainers depending on what job you have. So, like, are you a ranged DPS? Are you a tank? Are you a healer? Are you a melee DPS? If you and you can, and as you like gain levels, you will unlock more and more quests with these guys. If you if you finish a quest line with them, meaning that you reach like the maximum level, you will get access to special equipment, which is, you know, like that's incentive enough in itself. But if you do every quest line of these, which again, then you will have to have a tank at max level, a ranged DPS at max level, a healer at max level at the time, and all these things. Then you will separate quests will be available, and it's one that kind of like puts an entire different spotlight on stuff in the main story and it's actually a very cool revelation. Um,
Ooh.
and there's also achievements. The game has a lot of achievements, and sometimes if you do an achievement, you just straight up get like mounts or titles or glamour, stuff like that. So there are indeed rewards, but in case of story, the Shadowbringers one is the only one that I know. But to be fair, I think it is also hard to get anything that reaches that point.
Okay, no, that's just what I was curious about, because I'm like usually when I'm in the game, it's hard for me to get immersed in just a story, because I always like also imagine, like, I look at game decisions and game design and like what like there's an opportunity for something cool to happen. Now that was just like nudging at the back of my head the more I was like getting into my monk. It's like I wonder what would happen if somebody was crazy enough to be a level 90 fucking everything. And it's good to know that there's like, yeah, like a insane person.
Yeah. I like what I just described is having a level 8, so it's 80 for Shadowbringers, having a level 80 of every like job type, not every job. I don't know if there's anything for every job.
Okay, but still, job type is still something that I was expecting, which I think is really cool. Role quest more ingrained with the primary plot induced with the third expansion. For its class-specific quest lines, that's their own self-contained title little things. There is
Amaro
the Amaro mount.
Okay, so get them out.
I'm gonna look up what an Amaro is.
Sure. What was it? There was something that I wanted to.
Ooh, Feather Dragon.
Oh, fuck. I had something cool that I wanted to talk about, but now it's gone.
We were talking about Final Fantasy XIV rating, Shadowbringers, Stormblood. I think with how much the game design with 14 respects the player's time and work, it won't offer major locked away big things behind insane grinds like that. Rewards for your effort, sure, but no major bits of content. Okay, that's around the thing I was like hoping for. That like there's something that would only be valuable to somebody who wanted to grind it out, but it wouldn't be like a major thing. It's just a neat little trinket. Here you go, which I think is fine.
Yeah, it will be like what DLC was originally intended to be. Not a slice of the cake, but a slice of another cake. So it's like adds on top. Not you don't miss out on anything, but there's a little bit of extra spice over here in case you need it. Also, the advice I got from Sebastian, it was pretty good, so I'm gonna convey it to you. Wait until you're done with A Realm Reborn to pick up a gatherer or crafter job.
Which ones are gatherer or crafter jobs?
Fuck. That is a miner, a fucking lumberjack, alchemist, chef, fisherman, like all those things. Advice we both thoroughly ignored. Yes, but I wish I hadn't because that is just gonna drain your fucking it's gonna take all your time. It is dumb weird, like it is dumb in depth and dumb confusing at first, but it will fucking like steal all your time.
Understood.
And most you'll
Understood.
be wanting to have one class of each role, like tank, healer, melee, ranged, and magic. And you won't need to worry about any of that till the third and fourth expansion. That aside, what classes you play is purely for funsies. The only difference between one tank and another is whatever you think is cool or fun. Oh, okay, real quick. Now I remember what it was that I wanted to say before. So remember how you were talking about like leveling up all of the different jobs. A thing that I don't think gets enough credit about Final Fantasy XIV is that there are points in different side quests and story quests where you will go and you will have a talk with characters that are involved in other job quests. So say that you're a black mage, and you have like your black mage trainer or trainers in black mage case. At one point during the story, you're just gonna go and you're to talk with the black mage trainer because you need to learn about like how black mages work or something for a plot thing. If you have been a black mage, the black mage trainer is gonna refer to you differently than if you have not done any job quests. If there's instances where a job quest has, for example, taken you to help a guy that you are then later gonna meet on your job, on your main quest or side quest or anything, that person is gonna go, "Oh, hey, Jimmy, thanks for saving me that one time," or something. Like you actually doing the different things in all these different job quests is a thing that the writing reflects on as you go. It is small little like nitpicky tidbits, but it makes such a cool difference.
Damn, a lot of like single player games don't get that right. That's right? Impressive.
It was so funny because so the way that we would do it is that Sebastian was basically backseat gaming with Alice and I all the way up to Endwalker, where we were kind of like playing it together. And so like every time there was like voice bubbles or something, I would be throwing on a stream and I would like read it aloud and do all the funny voices and all this stuff. And there would be several times where Alice or Sebastian would go, "I didn't get that," because they weren't for example, if you play as a Lancer/Dragoon, you meet one of the primary characters of Heavensward earlier, and you actually fight this person. When I met him doing the story, he's like, "Oh, you fucking bitch! I will win our next fight," or something like that. And Sebastian and Alice, who have never touched Dragoon or Lancer, go, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Funny how that all works.
Yeah. So that's another cool little tidbit you get. It's super minor, but I just love that little attention to detail.
I wonder if I get to meet that fucking merchant who gave me the good kush in the opening cutscene. Because like I don't know if you started as monk. But...
I did.
Oh what? Oh, you do? Oh
yeah,
shit!
I started as a pugilist, went on to monk, then went on to become a lancer, then went on to become a dragoon. Then I beat Heavensward as a dragoon, and then I picked up Gunbreaker and beat Stormblood as Gunbreaker, and then I played Red Mage or Summoner through Endwalker. And through Shadowbringers, and for Endwalker, I was playing as a Reaper.
Ooh.
And I'm I'm like kind of like sad nerd who I'll be like making like little small role playing plot things in my head. Like my character is obviously a hot black lady with short hair. And so, like, there's points in the game where it's like, oh, she wouldn't have had time to cut her hair, so I would like make her hair longer for that expansion or something like that.
You know, I'm trying to like figure. Fucking hell! I feel embarrassed because I'm doing the same fucking shit right now,
right?
Because like my I made my road again. Like he looks like your typical edgy like Naruto character, where like he's got the big like fuzzy hair. You can see like his one green eye, but like the other part of his hair covers his face, and there's like scratches and scars, and there's a blind eye under it. And like the idea is that like he looks all fucked up and intimidating, but he's really just the a nice normal guy who got mauled by a bear and survived as a kid, and he just wants to go through about his life. And then there was like this one little this one little quest where you like give cookies to orphans, and I'm like, oh, that's exactly what this guy would do. So now he's just like bumbling through the story, just being a nice guy. And there just seems to be a lot of assholes who just wants to catch his hands. Like, sir, I need to ask you to stop doing this drug trade right now.
No.
Like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to beat your face in. Congrats, nerds! You do that every time you glamour your armor or something. Like, my friend has like her Rodigan like dragoon's a fucking detective. So, fuck, I'll let me look at the glamours and see what I can make.
Okay, so when if you start streaming, if you have plans of streaming, I should probably phrase it like that. If you have plans on streaming Final Fantasy 14, you need to wait with doing what is called the Hildebrand questline. Hildebrand. You have to wait with doing that until you have your streamer kit. You need to stream you doing that. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. If you do that, people will come.
That is terrifying, but I'll do it. I'll just write Hildebrand questlining on Final Fantasy 14.
What was that? Sorry, my thing kind of.
Hildebrand questline.
No,
he said. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I will hold off on that, and when I have my streamer kit ready, and I'm gonna be streaming for realsies, I will show everyone. I will go through that questline, and I'm more afraid of that than when you told me to pick a tank. So I'm like, what the fuck am I in for?
Without getting
don't even tell me anything about it. I'm just that question was rhetorical. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go in completely blind.
All right.
Guarantee people will be there for that. That's terrifying, but okay. I'll take your word for it and not ask any clarification.
Good.
I do want to mention one more thing. Like, fucking, you mentioned your class abilities, and they're literally all the ones I was thinking of trying out, and I'm like, God fucking damn it! I was gonna be a gunbreaker.
That's why we're bros.
We literally got the same taste of bullshit.
It's so fucking wild because when I was playing Final Fantasy VIII, I always thought that Squall's Gunblade was the dumbest fucking thing ever. I don't know what it is about gunbreakers in 14, but they make it fucking work.
The way they make it work is that the gunbreakers are actually guns. And Leon's sword is not actually a gun. It is the trigger is there to shoot spells, but not really.
Yeah,
it is literally just aesthetics. And I'm like, bro, you were so close.
Yeah, I think in 14, like, they used the gun part to like enhance the sword magically or something. There's probably more stuff that you can figure out, but I didn't dive that much into it. But it's fucking rad. And seeing that we're just like rubbing our dicks off to 14, a thing that I fucking love about 14 is how, like, you were talking about gameplay and how you like to like look at the gameplay and analyze it. I think that there's a thing that 14 does that is so interesting that I don't think it has ever been replicated by any other video game company to the same extent, which is that as you get new abilities and new mechanics for your class, it's going to change retroactively how you're going to play that particular class.
Ooh.
What do I mean? So, the best example I can come up with is the class where I picked up on this, which is the Black Mage. And Black Mage is infamous for being super fucking confusing, and for good reasons. So, you obviously have your mana, and you have fire spells and you have ice spells. When you fire off a
Mhm.
fire spell, you go into fire mode, which makes all of your spells hurt much more. And if you use your ice spells, you you go into ice mode and you recover ice mana much faster. All right. So obviously I'm gonna go into fire mode and I'm gonna bang, 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 and then I'm gonna go into ice mode and I'm gonna use that until I get full mana again, and I'm gonna switch between the two. Cool.
Mhm.
But then you get further up, and now all of a sudden you get abilities where using this fire spell is gonna drain all of my mana. Okay, what the fuck? Okay, so now I'm gonna it's gonna do the same amount of damage no matter how much mana I have in stock. Okay, so now I'm gonna go fire, 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 and then once I have very little mana left, I'm gonna use the big explosion that takes all of my mana, and now this is my combo, and then I'm gonna switch into ice and then recover it. All right, now I get the ability to switch between ice mode and fire mode without having to use a spell. Okay,
Ooh.
so I don't really know what I need that for, but it's nice to have. All right, then later you get a mechanic where if you are in a certain if you don't do a so when you go from fire to ice, you return to neutral once, which means that like if you're fire and you use ice, you go to neutral, and then you have to use ice again, and then you go into ice mode. And you get a thing later where as long as you don't go to neutral, you will have this buff that allows you to use extra strong attacks. All right. So now I go fire, fire, fire. Oh fuck! But now I'm out of mana, and I can. But if I go to ice, I'm gonna lose my buff. But wait, earlier I unlocked the thing that allows me to switch elements without having to use the element. So now I'm using that, so I maintain an element without returning to neutral. So I keep the buff up, and now I can use the ice magic to then like gain my mana back, and then I can like you see where I'm going, right?
So what you're saying is a black mage is basically a ranged monk. I love him.
Basically. But the thing is,
I'm gonna love this.
So once you reach level 30, you basically have like the main structure of your kit. Then you reach level 50. Now it introduces a new mechanic to you that makes it so that if you play by these rules, then you're playing well. Then once you reach level 60, it introduces new rules. On the path to level 60, it introduces new rules. So now you have to play differently than you were up to level 50. And then it does that again with 70, 80, and 90. So once you reach 90, you have this rotation in your head that you wouldn't even be able to fathom earlier. But it all comes naturally because you realize that, the best rotation to get to where I need to be is this rotation. And that rotation keeps changing the further you come in. It is fucking insane how well they do this. And they do this with every single fucking class.
That's impressive.
It's super
I noticed. I did notice that because like I was going through like my monk, right? I was like looking through the skills, what I should keep in mind for, and I did notice like every single expansion, like there was a new twist or new thing that changed exactly how the hell you were gonna play. Yeah. So like the first 50 levels, you're on the same track. That's just baby mode, and then Heaven's Word gives you a new thing, and then Stormblood, and then blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh.
And I need to stress how interesting this is because I know that Drake is in the chat and he's probably going to correct me, and I want to stress very early on that I wasn't very good at World of Warcraft. Straight up, I just wasn't. But the way that my observation was for at least the classes that I was playing is that as you got better, your rotation didn't change as much as it just got longer. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once you reach a certain point, you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yada yada yada. and so and so the interesting thing about Final Fantasy 14 is that it makes you go, instead of going 1 2 3 4 5, it will then go 1 2 5 3 4. Like it will change the order around, which is enough to just like make it feel like completely different. And then, as Alice brought up, there's also global cooldowns, which is and non-global cooldowns, which means that if you're using an ability, it's automatically going to go into like a cooldown of any length. It can be like half a second or something. But you will also have the abilities that you can use while other abilities are on cooldown, which makes it so that instead of like in the base game, you're probably going to be like 1 2 3 4, like in that pace. And then you're kind of going to be like waiting in between, like, oh, I wish I could do something. But then once you get further in, you unlock these off global cooldown abilities that makes you go 1 off global cooldown, 2 3 off global cooldown, 4. So now all of a sudden you're like bam bam bam, like you're just like doing a bunch of actions every second. And you were talking about Gunbreaker, and that one probably has my favorite example of this.
Ooh.
Because Gunbreaker, for some fucking reason, has like a 5 action long rotation. It is weird how fucking long it is. But then, once you reach, I think it's level 60, you get an ability called Extension. Which, once you get it, you don't really know what it does at first. But it becomes, once you have done move 1 and 2, you can click Extension and get an off global cooldown hit in. Then you can go 3 extension, 4 extension, 5 extension, and then you get further in 6 extension. So instead of having like a 5 button like long list of things you're doing, you now have fucking 10 things in one rotation. And the thing is that it doesn't become like impossible to manage, because half of those moves are just a single button. So it just becomes your character is just fucking swinging, flipping, and dipping and attacking non-stop, and it looks so fucking cool. Especially because like half of those moves are with like a slash and an explosion following it.
I can't believe you sold me on Gunbreaker, because I'm like, oh, fuck. Listen, my favorite thing is like, okay, I just want to mention it like straight up, because I'm only level 15. I'm just getting my feet wet in like Final Fantasy 14. But the one thing I'm a little peeved of, it is in the design, is just like, you know, dealing with every skill being on a global cooldown. I know there's exceptions. I just got leg sweep, and I'm like, just getting a little pot shot in there just brings a certain amount of dopamine. And here you are telling me, oh, Gunbreaker just lets you have that for free. Okay, yeah, I guess I'm making a Gunbreaker for Stormblood. Jesus Christ.
The biggest gripe that Alice and I have had with Final Fantasy 14 is that it is like at the beginning, there's a lot of time where you are just like waiting until a move comes off cooldown. And even if that move is only like on a second of cooldown, once you have done that enough, it's like that 1 second starts feeling.
You feel it.
Yeah, you really feel it. So once they start introducing these off global cooldown things, it becomes way more fun, way more engaging. And like, sure, some classes have them more than others, but it really like starts adding to it. And once you also start getting like into the more complex things about like how to play your character, that also like kind of makes you forget about like that 1 second of cooldown, because now you also have to process, where am I in this long sequence of things that I have to do to unlock my big boom moves. Like Red Mage, for example. Okay, wow, we are just fucking going at it. Red Mage are fucking cool. They're probably one of my favorite classes in the entire game, because they're just people who they looked at black mages and went, bitch. They looked at white mages and went, bitch. And then they looked at a sword fighter and went bitch. And then they took all of these three components and just combined it into one. So when you're playing as a red mage, you can both use black magic and white magic. And as you do, you fill up like either a white gauge or a black gauge. And if there's too much of a discrepancy between these, you do less damage. So you kind of want to be in balance. But the cool thing is that once you have reached a certain threshold, you can start using this built-up mana to enhance your sword moves. So if you max this thing out and you're playing a level 90 red mage as me, you go from like exploding things left and right with lightning and time stop and swords, like flying magical swords and fire and all this shit. And then you press a button and you're suddenly all up in your opponent's shit. And you just start doing your melee combo, which is just like a bunch of Sorrow shit where you're just like swishing your fucking rapier around like it's like someone owes you money. And then if you manage to do that entire combo, you get to finish it off with, I think at level 70, a big explosion. At level 80, an even fucking bigger explosion. At level 85, guess what? Even bigger explosion. And then at level 90, a big fucking Giga Drill sword thrust. And instead of like replacing that explosion, you just do that explosion after the others. So it's like 1 explosion, 2 explosion, 3 explosion, 4 explosion, and fuck you and then stab. Oh yeah, and then, just to make Red Mage even more interesting, every other spell they do is instant. So you go, oh okay, well what's the big deal? Well, you have a little shitty spell, a bolt, which is pretty fast, and then you have all your other spells, which are pretty slow. Well, then the game is basically telling you, go fuck my game up, go be a cheap bitch. So what it tells you to do is, throw the little fast bolt off, and then you got an instant cast to this spell that was originally going to take 5 seconds to cast. Now you can just throw that instantly.
Oh my god. That's a bit insane, I will admit. Holy shit.
I am not fucking kidding. When I was playing Red Mage, I honestly thought I was breaking the game because of this. Because then I would just go, bolt, super strong attack. Bolt, another super strong attack. And I would just like go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Until I found out, they want me to play like a bitch.
She's like, wait, am I cheating right now?
Yeah, exactly.
You're making it sound fucking free.
Yeah. And also Red Mage is the dumb numbers. And you can resurrect and heal people. Because again, remember, they didn't just look at Black Mage and went bitch. They also looked at White Mage and went bitch.
Oh my god.
Am I selling you on Final Fantasy XIV, by the way?
Listen, my friend already bought the launcher, and I am committed to going at least to the end of Heavensward.
Good.
Oh god, Red Reses are so good in our raid.
Yeah, because remember, if a normal White Mage has to cast Res, they can every support class gets an ability that they can use, which has a pretty long cooldown that basically just lets them rest instant cast any spell, and they typically use it for resurrection. Well, again, Red Mage went bitch, and so you know that thing I just mentioned before, where every second spell you cast is instant? Guess what that also applies to? Fucking resurrection.
You see the healer's down, he just walks over, slaps him on the ass. Get the fuck back up. Your job's not done.
Yeah.
Damn. I did not know that works for res as well. Fucking Red Mages. So I see they're playing on easy mode. Well, I love them.
Well, again, they are a little more complicated than most classes, but once you're in the groove, it's so fucking interesting. Especially because it's a class where, like, normally if you're like a Black Mage, you want to keep your distance. Yeah. And if you're like a monk, you want to be all up in the grill. Red Mage is like, why not both? They're that little Mexican child with the fucking tacos, where why not both? So half of the game you spend on keeping your distance and throwing magic at the opponent, and then once your bar is up, you're like, hey, it's go time, and now all of a sudden they got a rapier stuck through the pee hole.
Oh my god.
Did I mention that the way that it works is that they okay, so they have a rapier in one hand, and then they have like this little flying ball in the other hand. And so whenever they want to like cast a spell, they basically just hold the rapier upside down like a staff and put the orb on top of it. And guess what? They have now effectively turned the rapier into a magic staff.
I don't need a staff here. I got one.
Yeah. I cannot begin to describe how much Red Mages just they are the fucking tool time of fucking classes in fucking Final Fantasy. They're like, hey, I want that, give it to me. And people went, that doesn't functioning work. And they're like, I don't care, bitch, I'm gonna make it work. No, Red Mage, you can't just cast Firaga. Bitch, watch me. No, you can't just cast Rest. Bitch, watch me. No, you can't just sword fight. Hey, guess what? Bitch, watch me.
If anything, you've just sold me on how amazing the Red Mage is. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I forgot what that no blue mage comment was about. Can you explain that real quick, Wedge?
So blue mage is a weird fucking thing because it's a half class. It's not even like accepted as a full class. It is like this cute, funny little ha dumb thing that you can do as an aside. Where it can't, like, when you're signing up for a dungeon or something, you typically have to go DPS or tank or healer, but with a blue mage can fulfill none of those. A blue mage is just someone that you tag along and let them sit in the corner and sniff glue. But did you ever play Final Fantasy VIII?
Yes, I know they like eat things and like steal enemy skills.
Yeah,
I know.
It's basically the same thing here, including self-destruct, by the way, which functions exactly how you think it does. Doesn't do enough damage to justify it.
Hey, let me just kill myself for a little pinprick.
Yeah, and then the rest of us are left going, oh goddamn, now we have to fucking sweep up this goddamn corpse. So I don't know when it started, but we essentially started treating blue mages as a slur. Where, like, if you roll a blue mage, you essentially don't have any human rights.
Wow.
Like, okay, so in terms of rights, it goes guns, women, and blue mage.
Blue mage.
So blue mage has even less rights than women has, apparently.
Okay, if it put in American terms, it makes sense.
Yeah, in American terms.
Damn, sucks to be a blue mage. I don't even know what the fuck they do. They just like take enemy skills. Are all enemy skills like that bad?
I think it's more because like normally when you have like a character, you will combo from one thing into another, and a blue mage is just like a mishmash of different abilities, none of which combos. I don't know because I haven't touched blue mage because ew. But
ew.
But I don't know. Apparently, if you want to get rich, they are apparently like extremely good at getting money, or at least casino money. Which, by the way, go find the golden saucer, because yes, the golden saucer is in this game, and it is weirdly in depth.
Oh god, it's not just betting on chocobo races.
Oh no. Hey, do you remember Triple Triad?
I remember. You really?
Do you want to play fucking Triple Triad? Cause once you unlock Triple Triad in the casino, it functions exactly like it does in Final Fantasy VIII, where oh no, the fucking sun is collapsing. Oh hey, yeah, Triple Triad, yeah, I got a minute. Like you can fucking play people in the fucking world for the fucking cards, and it's Triple Triad as you know it, complete with the theme and everything.
They literally just slapped Triple Triad into the game.
There's a fucking railway shooter in that casino. There's a fashion contest. There's a claw machine. There's jumping puzzles. There's races. There's all of these. Like, you are not prepared. You can play fucking mahjong. You are not prepared for all of the fucking weirdly insane in-depth stuff that this 100% optional area has.
Holy shit, the golden saucer. I heard things from other friends who have played Final Fantasy 14 that their favorite thing is the golden saucer. It's a big old meme, and I'm like, it can't. It's just a nice little nod to Final Fantasy 7. No, this is the first time I'm hearing they've got fucking Triple Triad.
You can fucking play competitive in Triple. You can play other people in Triple Triad, not just NPCs. You can play other players in Triple Triad.
Oh my god.
You can become a fucking.
Oh my.
Okay, but remember.
We can be your own Yu-Gi. Like I'm thinking of immediately the like Battle City and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Remember how I was talking about like, oh, I do these little roleplay things for my characters. In lore, my character, a big buff Amazonian dragoon, is the biggest fucking Triple Triad nerd known to man.
Oh my Christ.
Alice writes, thing with blue mages is that it's not a real class. It's more like a fun side game you can play. They don't get any abilities normally. A bunch of enemies and bosses have special skills that the blue mage can learn or random chance when killing those enemies. It's like a big fancy solo side game to play. The slur comes from seems a blue mage can't join a raid or dungeon normally with the auto matchmaker. They'll use the manual looking for group tool and clog up groups. So if you got like a tank, a healer, DPS, and 12 blue mages like fat old dudes in a little kid pool. Oh yeah, and like, as Alice says, when you're doing dungeons or raids, and you go, hey, that boss was pretty cool. Guess what? Sometimes they become a card. You know how fucking Final Fantasy 14 had a crossover with fucking Nier Automata?
Yeah.
I have a 2B Triple Triad card.
Okay. Okay. That kind of blindsided me, not gonna lie.
I don't think... So, a thing that I have realized about Final Fantasy 14 is that nothing is done by half measures. If they decide, hey, we want fucking Triple Triad in this game, they didn't just make it like a little funny thing that you can do in this one area. No, they fucking made it into a fucking thing in the game.
Nothing is half-assed in 14.
No.
The both F stands for full ass.
Except blue mages, because even the devs hate those. Yeah. But again, we don't talk about blue mages.
I feel like in every game where blue mages exist, blue mages suck. It is strange to me. But I feel like if I feel like that also restricts, like, you can't have enemies have too cool abilities anymore, because then a blue mage can steal it. Fucking Kina.
That's a thing from Final Fantasy 9, right?
It's that's a chef lady, I think.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But Cloudy?
Yeah.
In case someone wants to tell us about why they think that blue mages should have rights, or show us their cool collection of Triple Triad cards, where could they send us an email?
Glad you asked. If they want to send an email to us, they can send it to webcastrelief@gmail.com. So, if you want to just admit that you don't have any rights, to being a human being, where can they expose themselves, Lhasa?
To the Supreme Court of America, but failing that, you can do so to webcastrelief@gmail.com.
Okay, so we have had 2 questions that have been waiting since the start of June that I'm going to read out.
Okay.
First one is from Shane O'Brien, and they say, "Dear Cloudy and Lhasa, first question in a long while." Yeah. First question: which Anarchy Dreamers character are your favorites? He says mine is Cecilia and Devlin. And sorry to put you on the spot like that. Hold on, wait. Sorry to put you on the spot. Sorry, guys. Which characters are your least favorite? And then there's a question too. But your favorite Anarchy Dreamers characters and least favorite Anarchy Dreamers characters. Out of the main 6, you've got good taste. I love Cecilia and Devlin. Crow is up there. I really like Crow's mom, and I will not explain why I love Cynthia, but I do. Least favorite. While I'm thinking of that, Lhasa, you think of your favorite Anarchy Dreamers characters real quick.
Devlin or Taj. There you go.
Tig.
Fuck! I don't fucking care.
Actually, no. That's actually kind of funny because Emily got into some TikTok drama because of that.
What?
Because yeah. Okay. So first off, I'm just convinced that people who try to call you, who say the things you're doing are racist, are super massive racists themselves or children. But she made a funny little comic. It's basically like a college humor joke from 5 years ago of how a lot of Irish kids have really unpronounceable names. There's a Rawson, there's Tig, there's Anya, and then there's Tabitha. Tabitha with the only quote unquote normal name.
Yeah.
Now Emily's told me, she told me she's probably changed the story at this point, but she has a actual specific reason why the names are unpronounceable aside from Tabby, and but aside from lore reasons, for just the fact that it's Irish and how a lot of Celtic or Gaelic names are just really fucking hard to say. It's just a funny, quaint thing. And even though it's hard to pronounce Tig, once you hear it the first time, it's hard to forget. But she made a comic noticing how all of Tabby's siblings have hard to pronounce names, and she gets this little little shit that is just arguing with her constantly about how she's a racist and a bigot and a Nazi for talking about that, and I'm like, what the fuck are you on, bro? And I don't know what it is.
Irish race.
Yeah, I don't know. Ask England what they think about that.
Oh boy.
But besides that, but no, they're going back and forth about. I was like, dude, what the hell is your problem? And while she was making so many comments, TikTok saw that. I was like, oh, this video is getting so much interactions. Let's start making it viral. So her silly little comic about how these kids have fun, hard to pronounce names suddenly get viral. Now she has a bunch of weird people on it, and she's like, "Oh my fucking god, I'm done with the internet." And it's even funnier because she got it one. I looked at the video and there was one of those comments. It's like, they're all cute characters. Now make them kiss, and she had to reply with they're all siblings. And I'm like, wow, TikTok's fucking wild. Yeah. No rights.
Yeah. Like Blue Mages.
Okay, I will be honest. If it were not for the extraneous material, I would fucking hate Luna. Because she's that archetype I fucking hate of the snobby rich white girl. But Thanks to Marshmallow Horns and Cecilia. She's been redeemed in my eyes. As far as like least favorite characters, I think I have to go with like those fucking anus starfishes nightmares who just say hurtful things just to be cunts. And they remind me of like fuckers that you just meet online who just want to get under your skin for no reason. So yeah, who's your favorites and least favorites?
Well, again,
least favorite. Yeah.
Least favorite. So on the real, I don't think I've touched that much of Anakodima since I did the video of it. I did like brush up a little bit on it before I interviewed Emily, but I haven't actually read it since then. So I'm very, very rusty. But off of the top of my head, I remember that I found that Crow for the longest time. It felt more like the only thing that he brought to the table was that he had his leg in a cast. I was like,
I will admit, like, she told me that there was a lot more to Crow, especially with his relation to Dimitri, because like he definitely gets a lot more time in like the Marshmallow Horn side comics.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that's just because like you have your main plot in Anarchy Dreamers, but like all like the character building stuff is like it just can't fit. So you definitely see the kind of person he is and how that laid back attitude goes here and there. Also, she said like she was thinking about how Crow would every arc he'd just have a different injury because that's just him. But then she kind of got talked out of that. So I wish she stayed with it because I think that would have been funny. Because Crow's a fucking idiot, but I love him. But it's just but yeah, no. But Crow in the story, I do think like the comic is at a point where if she wanted to start over or if she wanted to keep going, either would be a viable option. Because I feel like Emily has matured so much as like an artist and as a writer and as a comic creator that if she had the opportunity to sit down and just pen to paper, do it all over, she can like do something amazing. I'd like her to keep going, but if she wanted to start over, I'd understand. But like, I feel like she definitely has the opportunity to just, do everything she's learned in Marshmallow Horns and bring it back into the main comic.
Yeah.
Just, life and things sucks.
Yeah.
I hate bees now. But yeah, that's still very valid. Let's see. Question 2. He had a question 2. Between the two, who would do you rather? And he just has a question mark after it. Would you rather David Cage or would you rather Tetsuya Nomura?
As in fuck or fight?
Okay. Let's do fuck, fight, and work with.
Fuck Nomura, fight Cage, work on the Nomura.
Honestly, yeah. To be completely honest with you. Because Nomura is like a cringy, self-important psychopath. But he's got like that. But like I said in the last podcast, I said like a month ago, Nomura is just post No More Heroes 2 Suda 51.
Yeah.
Where he's so typecast in his like weird little game, he either doesn't want to break out of it or he just continues to box himself even closer still. Like, you could do something with him. Whereas if you work with David Cage, he'll just make a weird sex model of you without your consent.
Yeah,
and then make real that just like.
I definitely feel that. So check this out. Nomura is a self-indulgent kid who will throw everything to the wind as long like he's in this position so that he can make his own fantasies and OCs be the coolest fucking things ever.
Yeah.
That's why he's in the game industry, is like self-indulgent for his own fantasies to make like to rub his OCs off. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. And then there's David Cage, who is a self-indulgent psychopath who is in the video game industry because that way he can get to meet hot women.
Yeah. Between the two, one's just a cringy child. The other one is like
a potential rapist.
Yeah, there wasn't any other way to say it.
Nomura has his own fantasies. Cage has his own fantasies.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay. We got another question this time from Yeriko. I hope they're doing well. And they said, "Hello, heyo, let me just swing by with this question." Okay. JoJo versus Morbius. They're both memeable, but what makes a good / well-received piece of media memeable? And the same question applies to bad or poorly received media. Peace. His name is Titus, and he might be a ghost and wears weird jeans, wahoo. Ellen Page is homeless and sucks a guy. Honestly, like, that's kind of a good answer to, like, the question that Jericho asked. What makes a good piece of media memeable? What makes a bad piece of media memeable? I think it's just the context you always put it in, and you just take a step back and think about. One, like, honestly, like, whether you love Final Fantasy X or hate Final Fantasy X, or love or hate whatever Ellen Page game that was, I forget.
Beyond Two Souls.
You just take Beyond Two Souls, thank you. You take a step back and you're just like, really process what the fuck you're looking at, and you either go into two categories. You just list it all out and realize how fucking insane you sound, or it's so boring that you have to fill in the context yourself. JoJo is like the first example, Morbius is the latter.
I definitely feel that there's also something to the intent of the medium in question. Whereas JoJo is a guy who, honest to God, like, loves his world, and he's so indulgent in this world that he kind of forgets what reality is like. Whereas Morbius is this thing that got memed on because of how stupid it is, and it's taking itself way too seriously. Whereas JoJo, like, the reason why it has stood the test of time and why it's memed so much on is the exact same reason why we still to this day talk about the game that should have been a nothing burger, which is Metal Gear Revengeance, where, like, the reason why we are still talking about it to this day and it's still meme potential to this day is because it's not taking itself too seriously. The other Metal Gear games took themselves too seriously, and thus the memes that we got out of them are very sparse.
Mm-hmm. Just like the Japanese animes.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually don't know if that was a real Otacon quote or that was just something that...
It is.
Okay, good. But, like, no, it honestly is when you have... It all, like, the context always matters. Because... honestly, I think the phrase "I'm beginning to morb" wouldn't be as funny without, like, realizing how serious and dark they're trying to make that movie.
Yeah, exactly. It is such
like
an out there, stupid name drop, silly quote, and that's why people loved it, because it was in such contrast with the tone of the movie.
Like, I have to be honest with you. When me and my friend watched Morbius, we watched it through the motherfucking... Well, we didn't watch it through it, but, like, we had, like, a pirated version, and we had a pirated version that was, like, cropped between Arkued's tits.
Oh, I remember that.
From Melty Blood. Yeah. And I'm like, that only makes the experience better, because in this grainy, like, 120p bullshit, because this video is trying to be so dark and edgy and serious and ooh, but it's just like another Marvel superhero flick that's edgy for no fucking reason. with like Tumblr sexy men for some reason, and then it's just like we're just gonna make fun of it, and it trashed the box office twice because they bought their own hype. And I thought that was funny.
It is so funny. They were like, "Oh, people want it back. Let's put it back. Oh, we gotta make millions." Then like 5 people watched it.
He doesn't say the thing. I love how that also became a meme. Where yes, this was obviously a meme. He never says it's Morbin time. Fuck, I'm gonna be honest with you. Until I saw Morbius, I thought it was a fucking Matrix sequel. This whole fucking time. I did not see any of the marketing. I only saw it's Morbin time. And like the funny anime girls saying he's beginning to morb. And then what the fuck am I looking at with this monkey vampire shit?
So you thought that it was Morbius from the Matrix?
Yes.
Oh no.
Imagine my shock.
When you fucking knew that Jared Leto was gonna play fucking a vampire, it didn't occur to you, wait, maybe he's not so good an actor that he can pull off a fucking black man.
I want to put this out there. I had zero, count it, zero at all, like any single contact with any sort of advertising. The first time I heard about the Morbius movie was when I heard the phrase, "It's Morbin time."
Okay, fair enough.
So I want you to imagine, oh shit, it's Morbin time. He's beginning to morb. Morbius is gonna do some cool shit. Red pill, blue pill. Alright, I'm hyped. Let's go watch it. What the fuck am I looking at? I've never been so disappointed before.
You got disappointed twice. Once by the movie and the second time by the fact that it wasn't Matrix related.
The third time because he actually did not say it's Morbin time. Lame.
Wow, you got fucking wombo combo by Morbius movie.
I know. Man, you can't have shit in Detroit.
You can't even have the Morbius movie. Anyway, this
beautiful.
Ended up becoming a pretty long podcast, but we did have a lot of stuff to catch up on. Hopefully, we can continue on a more normal schedule going forward. We'll have to see. Because, how are you? Okay, very, very quickly, in like 20 words or less, how is it going with your COVID situation? Because you got it again.
Yeah, I got it a third time. I almost died, but I'm good.
Okay, great. We'll see you guys in the next podcast. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.